Sounds good. I'm gonna get my 3 basic games of my see what this new event is that I'm missing out on PUBG. Oh, it's a new season. Don't make me put my glasses on. Late, Mr. Allies make 30 PUBG friends. Medal of Service. Achieve a 1 year of playing PUBG. I actually heard, I told you I got ghosted by the love of my life a while back. Her daughter actually posted me something. So that actually means the mom's actually reading my text, I think. So I told you, maybe I told you I didn't tell you that, I was or am studying to, get a degree in seminary. So it's through the Church of Christ. They have an online thing there, Sunset Bible Institute. I've been working on that. I haven't in the last 18 months. COVID kind of knocked me completely out of a lot of stuff. So anyway, when we started going back to church live, our classmate and friend is the acting preacher, and I preach for him when he's not there. And like the last time I preached for him is when Jeff Dunham came to town and basically told Mark builds the original Batmobile. He's the only one by DC Comics to license to make the original Batmobile from like 1966. Anyway, Jeff Dunham had him working on a old prop car from some B movie. Half of it was cardboard, and he wanted Mark to restore it. And Mark's told him that he could make him a brand new one cheaper. And he goes, "You don't understand. I restore movie vehicles, and those are the vehicles I own. I own one of the DeLoreans from Back to the Future. I own one of the tumblers from the newer Batman, and I want this one from an old movie." Well, anyway, Jeff basically told him, "Give me a date," and Mark couldn't give him a date. So Saturday, anyway, Mark got upset after COVID. His dad had died during the COVID crunch, and kind of changed Mark, I think. Plus, I'm pretty sure that his dad died of COVID, and me and the love of my life, she'd been going to that church since she was 4 years old. And she basically confronted him that what he was doing wasn't biblical, that he's quoting some bylaws of, yeah, you got to have those for a nonprofit, but, you don't quote those over the Bible. And basically, he didn't like us standing up and telling him that he needed to get his act straight, and basically it wasn't his church. It was God's church first, and then it was the congregation's church. Well, he got us kicked out of the church. Yeah, because he didn't like that. So, fast forward, this was about a year ago this happened. So during that year, he got in a confrontation with a sheriff from San Mateo County, California, bought a vehicle. Well, Mark claims he missed one of the payments, so he put him at the end of the line, which meant he was going to wait an extra 2 years for his car. Well, the guy said, well, okay, here you go. I won't miss another payment. Here's the money in full. I want back at the front of the line. And Mark wanted to put him back in the front of the line. So, anyway, he ran for sheriff and didn't make it or something, this guy in California. Anyway, he had 4 sheriff deputies come clear from California and raid Mark's business Saturday and took a bunch of files over this civil case. It's not a criminal case, but they filed criminal charges for him. Read his Miranda rights. Mark had to go down to jail for an hour, get detained over allegations, misappropriation of funds and all this other stuff. So yesterday he posted a GoFundMe page. Don't let the Joker win. Justice for Batman. It shows him in his thing. And Terry's daughter sent me a reply to that. I had sent them a notice that Mark had got raided on Sunday, and then they finally sent me something yesterday. She did, the daughter. So I'm not even sure if she's monitored all the social accounts and she's the one that told me, and she buried her mom back once or something. So, I don't know. It's weird. But it was funny that she sent me something, because usually the daughters, again, the reason why the whole dynamic, her daughter, the one I was talking to, contacted me, or returned the page that Mark had did a GoFundMe page, and she goes, I think I'll pass. She kicked my mom out of church. I don't think I'm going to come give to you for anything. And I'm like, you got to forgive. I forgave him a long time ago. Doesn't mean that I'm going to go give him any money. In fact, why is he doing a GoFundMe page for a business? That almost sounds criminal. I don't even know if that's legal. But the guy in California isn't in much better legal channels, because I'm sure if you look up Batman, you'll see Logansport, Indiana, Mark Rake the whole thing. It came in as breaking news on my news channel, and I was like, wow, this is like on NBC and CBS, like nationally. So you say you're playing Grand Theft Auto? I had great expectations for Cyberpunk. I even took like a few days off when I was truck driving when it first came out, just to stream it live for the first 72 hours. And I think I had 20 crashes in basically 40 hours of playing, which wasn't bad. Some people were crashing like every 5 minutes. and but it had a lot of issues. And I really liked Outriders too, but it crashed so bad in the end that it literally locked me where I couldn't even log into the game. Yeah. What? Going in the hose and pulling people out of their cars and robbing them? You gangsta. Wow. And you still play it that much? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it's kind of like Assassin's Creed. Well, you got an excuse today to play longer. A lot of them have. Well, I met Tom Clancy in the Pentagon, 1990. Yeah, I was doing a inventory down in the. So when you do DARPA and you go into that one room that's got all the TVs, that's the live situation room for the Pentagon. Is what that is. And my supply point was on the other side of the wall. Yes, and in fact they wouldn't let me come and inventory it. I said, you got two choices. Those assets, until you utilize them, belong to the chief of supply. He's a full bird colonel, and he's not going to lose his job because of missing parts or fraud or something like that. This account has not been inventoried or managed in the last 6 years. So I'm either coming to get my parts, or you're letting me inventory them and they can stay where they are. And we're like, you have no authority. I'm like, you need to call your colonel, because your colonel's going to get a call from my colonel, and colonels aren't going to let careers in. So yeah, you need to let me come inventory those, or I'm bringing a truck over and we're taking all our assets back. Well, what's that mean? I said, that means every time you need a part, you're going to have to send somebody across the river through downtown DC and DC traffic to get your part. Well, we can't do that. If something goes down, we need this stuff back up immediately. I said, well, then what's your choices, buddy? Staff Sergeant, you know you're talking to a lieutenant. I don't care who I'm talking to. My job is to protect the U.S. Air Force and my colonel. So, and regulations is bigger than anybody in here. If you don't believe me, you can go back to Vietnam and study Lieutenant Calley. That lieutenant did not like me, even after everything was said and done. Even my colonel was like, you could have had a little bit of attack there. And I'm like, nope. My job is to protect you and do the right thing and do what the regulations tell me to do. I said I'd leave that political stuff up to you officers. Yes, well, you got to remember, Red Storm, the game, the company, that's his company. He started Red Storm. That comes from Red Storm Rising, and then he made a video game to control the video game industry back in the late 80s. Yeah, the Red Storm Rising and the Hunt for Red October were like early games on Commodore and stuff. And then Ubisoft bought that studio. So, they keep having rumors, well, the Tom Clancy, the Division 2 is going to be made by this. I'm like, no, it's not. Somebody wrecked that car. Say what, Donna? How you doing? Working for your dad? Yeah, sometimes. My son didn't have great success working for his dad. I had to fire him twice. Well, I told him, I said, you got a standard to work here, but Buffalo Wild Wings, that was when I was a restaurant manager, and he really enjoyed. He had to come work for me when he was like a junior in high school because he racked up like a $400 bill on our cell phone for texting back when you had to pay to text. And I'm like, well, you don't have much choices. You got to get a job. So my mom and dad used to drive him, 80 miles to Indianapolis to work for me every weekend till he paid it off. And he did real good. He worked in the kitchen. He worked his 8 hours because he was over 16, and then when he got the bill paid off, he wanted to continue working. Well, when he came back from basic training after he graduated, so he'd been part-time for a year and a half. So he came back after the summer after he graduated high school, and he wanted to work for me, and I said, okay. And New Year's came around, and we're heading home, and he goes, I'm going to call in for work tomorrow, and I'm like, why? On New Year's Day, you're going to call off? Well, yeah, my friends are coming to get me. We're going to go. I'm like, no, you don't show up, you're fired. Well, everybody else can call off. Well, if I caught them calling off when they weren't sick or something else for bogus use because they wanted to go on one of our busiest days of the year, I'd fire them too. But I know that why you're not going to work, and I'm telling you, you make this choice, you don't come back. And he said they're on their way. I said, well, I guess you're fired. No. But that's always been my youngest son's problem. He always says, whatever's good for right now, he has no thought of the consequences of tomorrow for his actions today. Well, that's why he started dating my girlfriend's daughter. I'm like, this is not good. And basically, the mom, because she's tries to be her daughter's best friend, was like, well, they're in love, and there's nothing you got to say about it. I'm like, so I don't have any say about it. Yes, I've told you this 1,000 times, Delta. Terry's daughter dated my son, and when they started doing it, then the daughter literally said, I'm fucking the son, you can't fuck the dad. Which wasn't happening anyway, because we were being good Christians at that point in our relationship, but and then, like I say, of course, Brandon pulled some stunts, and then Carrie got upset because she's 10 years younger than him, so, or 9 years, 8 years, something like that. Anyway, when he broke her heart, and then they got upset because they were still living in the same house. He moved in, I moved out, kind of thing. So it was all three of them against me. So yeah, it was a bad situation. But we worked through it, and we'd get together, and then when Brandon and them had a fight, and he broke her collarbone, throwing her to the ground, that was, then they were like, oh, your son's such an evil guy. And I'm like, you're telling me that I didn't give him enough, attention, and I'm the bad parent, Now you're saying he's the evil spawn. So make up your mind. Yeah, Yeah, Delta. I told you it was a Jerry Springer show. I've told you that 1,000 times, man. I know I have. Maybe I haven't. Yeah, when the cops came to take him to jail for the domestic abuse, and he only threw her to the ground. I mean, again, you don't lay your hand on a woman. You don't lay your hand on anyone. But the whole point is, it's not like he wailed on her. You know, he was in jail with people that literally beat up their spouse or their girlfriend or whatever every day. He threw her to the ground. She got her collarbone broke. He didn't stand over. He didn't. In fact, he was willing to take her to the hospital, but she was just like, no, you got to get out. Just get out of the house. Your dad's coming for you, and you need to leave. Anyway, the cop showed up, and basically he gave me the riot act that I couldn't contact her family, you know, because she was the victim. And I was like, wait a minute, you don't understand. And he boistered up like, what do you mean you don't understand? You need to listen to me, son. You can't contact their family. I said, me and the mom have been dating for 10 years. Like, wait a minute, this is his sister? Like, no, we're not married, but yeah, kind of, sort of. He goes, this is some Jerry Springer bullshit. He goes, well, he said, if you guys want to continue a relationship, you got to be very, very careful that you do not discuss your kids. I'm like, yeah, I understand. And we really never recovered from that. We kept the relationship kind of going for a few years, but it's been on and off. Because I love Terry, but her biggest thing is she loves her daughter more. And her daughter, you know, says jump, she says how high. And, you know, I understand. I'm one of the ones that spoiled Carrie for 10 years, so it's my fault as well. So, Carrie's a good kid. She used to study better than I've ever seen anybody else study. You know, when she was in high school, she would, I'm like, hey, so-and-so's on, your Bears are on tonight, or, you know, hey, we're going out to eat. No, I can't, I got 2 hours of studying to do. Like, kudos to you. Yeah. Quick question. Okay. Say what? What about a Romeo and Juliet situation? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Well, why is it got to be a secret relationship? For one, you don't get in a relationship. You know, you don't want to be up your parents' butt, and you don't want her up her parents' butt. You know, the relationship is you and her, or you and him, if that's the case. But the person that you're with, the relationship's about them, not about your family, not about your friends. You know, does that mean you ignore the other? You shouldn't have to ignore the other, but you know, when you're in a committed relationship, if it's a serious committed relationship, that thing needs to be priority one. So why is it a secret relationship? Did it end poorly, and then your family or her family didn't like you, or they didn't, your family didn't like her or something like that? Okay, everybody can change, but you know the whole point is if she can't tell her family that she's dating you and that you've made some changes or she's willing to forgive you, then then no, that's good. If she's real close to her mom and she's told her mom, then you know play it for what it is. But you gotta do the commitment. If you said you did something wrong the first time you guys were related, you gotta make sure that you're not doing those same bad choices. Well, Carrie's boyfriend, including my son, had a big problem with me, so I understand that. But well, that's got to be the mom and your girlfriend that are fixing that. Shh. Hold on. It's just me and one other dude. Mano y mano. Yeah. Shh. Make me mute you. Hey! Shh. Need to hear footsteps. Dude, I got the circle and you don't. Oh, he got me. Shit. Second place. You can talk now. Sorry. I did. No, it's never good when you have to keep a secret. But if that's what you need to do, but you say the stepdad's in jail, and then it sounds like that's, if the mom knows about it, it doesn't sound like that's a secret. So. Well, sadly, that happens way too much in this world. Well, if that's true, you understand that it's going to come with its own set of issues that you're going to have to deal with. So Jones, did you say Kami did a video about the update today? Did you say Kamikaze did a video about the update? Uh-huh. When's it come out? Does it come out today? It don't come out in a few weeks. Right. 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 So they may be changing the maps a little bit each week, each update. Oh, so it's not going to be the same going through every day, so you know that I run over here and I just camp this door and kill everybody. Right, and if more people, if everybody starts wearing it, then they'll change, they'll nerf something, or it's always bad when one set starts dominating. That, right, and that always was the fact, but so few people have ever garnished that, because when you're in a group and you get a kill and Delta gets a kill, I still get the experience for it, and there's more characters spawning. So the more people you have, the more characters that spawn, the more they get killed in the long run, even if you're not the one killing them. So when you run as a team, you're going to get more experience than if you ran solo. It's always been that way. That's why I always, when I start a mission and it's me and you, I always hit match make, and if we haven't seen anybody, then he gets in a tough spot, or it's a good point of the game, then I just call for backup and then give somebody their angel wings for showing up. Well, they promised us a lot more raids way back in the day. We were supposed to have 2 raids within the first year. Yeah, that was the initial promise, and then COVID hit, and that changed everything, and that was their excuse for not getting the content made. Well, I did a deep dive, and if you've seen the video, you've seen the greatest build video, and that wasn't clickbait. That was actually a deep dive and saying, okay, what are other content creators saying? So if I do the greatest build, good. I was very happy to see that nobody said in their title, this is the greatest build, this is the best build. Nobody said that. But they put it in a logarithm at the bottom, where you do a search, best build, greatest build. Yeah. So, of course, nothing but skills popped up, 58,000, and guess what? It was a build. It was an Elvis build, but it was an Elvis build with Memento backpack, and not Catharsis. And it did okay. And it was advertised best solo build. You can do legendary. It's like cheating. And I'm like, It was, but if you don't get your kills in, you're done. You know, and that's always a hunter's fury kind of, you know, memento issue. Right. A looter shooter. Yeah, it's a looter game. Yeah. Right, and we've already figured out that an axe shop is 5 million, and there's only 2 or 3 builds that's going to be able to withstand that. And it's all about the bonus armor builds. Um, so if you don't have some way to regenerate that, or you have to be that person you have to pick and choose when you're going to attack something and how you approach. You know, there's times that I'll engage a hunter and I have to back off of him because, okay, he's got my attention, that's good. But if the other people don't get in and start taking up the slack when they're not concentrating on him, on them, or if he's concentrating on a teammate, I need to really crank up and just start really plowing him hard. So he's like, okay, who the hell's doing the most damage? Because you know the programmers have programmed whoever does the most damage is going to get my attention. That's like every game. So here's a technique that I've learned and I've applied it to every game after that. So the ultimate game that I love playing even more than Division was a game called Star Wars Galaxy. It was World of Warcraft based in a Star Wars theme, and it had a number of expansions. The last expansion was really, really tough. It was because Lucas was still in charge of the everything Star Wars back then before he sold it to Disney, and Sony was managing it. And what they did is they tried to make it console ready, and when they did, they simplified the game. and the game was so complicated that you had to. There was a whole. There was all these professions you could do. So a dancer, you could actually do some micro programming in the game, and you could literally have your dancer dancing in a cantina all day long. So somebody would come up close to you, it would basically send a request. Hey, give me $5,000. I'll dance for you and give you a buff. Because the dancers gave fighters a buff. That medics gave, or the doctors took away like things and gave you a buff. And if you got those two buffs and you went to a vendor that made armor and they had the best armor, you got armor. And then when you went out and fought, your armor eventually decays and then it falls off. So you have to go buy armor again from the armorer. Well, the armorer needs the best materials, and the materials moved around. So then you have to have people that went out and explored and mined those minerals to sell to the crafters to make the best gear. And there was this whole community where you just had your niche, and then they simplified it and nerfed it. And I'm like, dude, you just, you know. And then they started cracking down on the eBayers that would say, sell gold and all that. And I understand there's people in Singapore that's making $1 an hour playing video games, so they can generate $5 worth of gold and, make a living off of, just grinding video games. Let them do it. It makes your game popular. But we're not getting money. It's our intellectual property. No, as soon as they touch it and change it, it's our intellectual property. Yours and mine. You created it, I made it. It would be like you being the lyricist and me being the musician. Okay? So to say it's just yours, so when you use my character and it's changed your game, I should be able to say, no, you can't do that because you're using my intellectual property. And that's never going to happen. But there's a fine line there, and it's actually went to court, and a lot of the courts don't want to touch it. Where does the intellectual property stop? You bought the product, or it's free, so you're buying the product by watching ads or whatever you generate your money from, or because you got 5 million people, you got a sponsor that's paying you, money, kind of like NASCAR. The owners make the money off of everything that's on that car. Because the owner doesn't usually get the money from winning, or even the last place guy gets $40,000 a race. But if he tolls $1 million car, so how does the owner make money? Well, the owner makes money by putting a car in the race and getting all those stickers. Ooh, it's the Target car. Yeah, I gotta go get some food. Well, I go to Target. I gotta go get some whatever. I need to go to Target. So, but yeah. Right, and I buy all their products when they come out. I don't waste money on skins like my son does on stupid games. I'm not gonna spend $25 for a package of skins or something to make my stuff look shiny. I didn't buy the right. I didn't do that. But has it? Right, but I'd rather that than them be able to buy their way to the top. Yes, I don't. That's what Star Wars Battlefront 2 got in trouble with. It was to, well, if you bought this, you could basically buy your way in. Right. Well, it's just like I told you that when I first developed four characters, I ran with a guy that taught me the raid. Basically, pulled me my first three raids. Here, you sit here, shoot that guy when he comes out the door. That's it. That's all your only job. So next time I would run, okay, you shoot that guy, and if that guy goes down, you throw your reviver hive and get him up. Okay. So then the next time I'm watching this door, this guy and that guy, and taking care of this boss, I'm responsible for hitting that button. And then by road 5 or 6, then I got better responsibilities. And by raid 5 or 6, that's when I had enough aces that they were like, hey, you're a decent sniper. Yeah. How about you run aces? And I was like, yeah, I've been collecting. I got all 6 of the gear set. People don't want it. And yeah. And then once I did that, then I was on demand. But during that time, the whole event came around him developing and kind of farming his team. So if one of his team was missing, he's like, hey, I got a client. Like, what do you mean you got a client? But, and once he knew he could trust me, he's like, I got to get an Eagle Bear for this guy in the next 24 hours. So it's me. Let's do the raid. That's why you got 4 characters. Because at any time you're on my beck and call list. If I got a client that's paying $300 for an Eagle Bear, I got to get it to him quick. Now, here's what I'm saying, just like what you were saying. So he gets this Eagle Bear to this guy that obviously ain't even good enough to have a good build for Dragon to run through there. So he gets this build together, he gets his team together, he gets this guy the Eagle Bear. If any of us get it, we drop it to Dragon, and he gives it to this guy because he's playing as this guy, right? And for the next 24 hours, he's got this guy's account just to get the Eagle Bear. And he's getting, $200 or $300 a pop for doing this service. And sometimes it took 24 hours of running raids for one of us to get an Eagle Bear to drop to Dragon. And sometimes it was unsuccessful. He had to say, here's your money back, I wasn't able to get you, or it's going to take me another day. And but he had a reputation that hey, he could get it, and he could I get it done in a few hours. Now I've tried that before, and I've done the eBay thing, to be honest, and I've probably made about $200 of doing it. Getting exotics for people. Um, Not the eagle bear, but lesser exotics, which is kind of tough. But like I say, you can see that I generate a lot of exotics. But to specifically get the right exotic, and what I had to do is I literally had to log in on one Xbox with the client's character and then my character, so they were on at the same time. So if I did grab something or an exotic, then I could give it to them. It is when you're struggling to get the well. If it wasn't for the sufficiency system, you'd have every exotic you ever needed by now. Again, I've broken down probably 200 exotics in the last month. Well, the Chatterbox and the Nemesis, we can easily just go out there and grind for it. And if we get it to pop along the way, then that's great. But we can also grind it the other way, the traditional way, how you got it. Now, the Chatterbox would take you, the Nemesis technically you could get in 2 weeks and a day, the shortest time. Well, okay, so we'll work on the tidal basin, and the first time. Okay. So we'll start running tidal basin each week. We'll do our invadeds. We'll do tidal basin, and we'll get you that. Now, once you get through that, then you have to do one of the other missions each week to get whatever that is. Now, the good thing is you can start that mission on each character even though you've got it. So how you do that is you take your Nemesis and you put it on one of your 4 characters, not in your stash and not on the character you're doing tidal basin with. So when you do tidal basin, it looks at your inventory, it looks at your stash and says, you don't have the Nemesis, here you go, you can do this mission, we'll drop you this piece. And you can do it over and over and over again. Same thing as if you go into some of your characters and you'll look and say, hey, I got all 4 pieces of Liberty to donate, but I can't make the Liberty. Well, you drop your Liberty in your stash, you go over to another character that don't have all those components, and you have that character put them on him, and then you log back into your other character that has all the Liberty pieces, and then you craft the Liberty piece. I just crafted 4 Liberties from Liberty pieces last week. Yeah. So you're only going to get them. You're only going to get them if it doesn't see that you have the Liberty. So if you have the Liberty, if you have all your exotics in your stash, once you get it, you're not going to be able to grind for it. The only exception that you can't repeat the process is the capacitor. Once you've done your 50 levels of Summit, you're done. And that's per account. That's not per character. Right. But you can get a Liberty on each character, and you can get it over and over and over again. The problem is, well, for one, you want it in your lot pool so it will potentially drop more. You want every exotic so it will potentially drop for you more. Well, Liberty is a pistol. The Liberty is a pistol. The Manus. Okay. The Manus. The Manus. But the one thing you can do with the Manus that you can't do with any other weapon is you can no scope. So, like when we were doing the shotty shotgun on Summit, you have to kill somebody with a shotgun, and then within 5 seconds you have to shoot and kill somebody with a sniper rifle. And I can shotgun somebody, switch the Manus, and no scope. Boom. And the other thing is, like in the foggy haze, a Manus is going to show there's their weak point and there's their head, even though you can't see that character. That's the advantage of, that's a special ability of Manus. So you should be able to get a headshot even when you can't see the character. So you put little cross a dot. Say you're in cover. You see the little round thing, that's their head. You put the cross dot up there. You stand up. You shoot. You sit right back down. Like on Legendary, it's key because if you're using the Mantis, you got to stand up. You got to let it charge fully to get the whole, the big bonus, and then you got to shoot. That's a lot of time to be visible for all these guys to shoot you and do damage to you. So the only way you can survive is use your 2 decoys. Yes, I said 2. So you have a decoy, right? And you also have a thing called a turret. Your assault turret is basically a decoy that can kill things. Because when it's shooting at people, it's got their attention and they're looking at your turret, not you. So it's a decoy that can kill things. Check it out next time. Check it out next time. So if you use 1 or 2, or you're using one, then the other, then one, then the other, then that gives you time in your. You got to remember, I spent 1.5 years as a sniper in this game. If you don't believe me, go to the world record for the players in the game and headshots. You're going to see me somewhere. I think, I don't know. I'd have to check again, but it used to be way up there, and it might be climbing back up the list again. Okay, when you're what value per head base damage for a nemesis is 1.5, 6. But you would have to fully charge it in 3 seconds. When you're using headhunter and you're using like sniper builds, you can look back on the old sniper builds. Don't look way back like a few years ago. But two pieces of ace and the eights gives you 15% extra marksmanship damage. Okay, so a Raldi gives you 10 or 15% more. Providence gives you 10% headshot. With your the Nemesis by itself, I think the Manus, most of the sniper rifles give you like 100-120% headshot damage just right off the bat if you look at the stats. And when you're using Headhunter, as long as you have over 150% headshot damage, you get that insane bonus of like 200% on top of that, and that's when you take those 1-2 million per hit. If I'm not doing 40-50 million per hit with my Nemesis, I ain't doing something right. And that's solo. That's not with, you realize that when you have somebody behind you with a fully maxed out sharpshooter, that you get 10% extra headshot damage. If you got somebody demolitionist, or I don't know what the other one is, but you get an extra 10% out of cover damage. When you got somebody that's using where they're doing damage with a shotgun or a marksmanship rifle, and they mark the target, then you shoot the target afterwards, you get an extra 20% damage. So when you see somebody like Wids do his old videos, he's like, this build does 150 million, but what he's not telling you is it's not just his build, it's the other 3 people that's in his video that's giving all the bonuses, and he doesn't tell you that. And that's what really used to piss me off about Wids. I'm like, I got a build that's built better than what he advertised, and I can't hit for half the numbers he's hit. What's the difference? His videos weren't, here's how to win at Division. His builds was, see what I can do. Look at me. May I dare date myself and say he's the Wade Boggs of Division 2. Do you remember Wade Boggs? Hall of Famer, 300 hits, right? But when the Playboy interview came out with his mistress or whatever, and she was like, well, Wade was pissed off today because he only went 2 for 5, but the Yankees won, right? But he's pissed off. He's in a foul mood. So he made me sign all the autographs. So there's half the autographs out there to see, and it's bad because some of the authenticators of his autograph have actually authenticity her autograph of him, not him of him, because her autograph is more prevalent than his autograph. So his autograph looked like a forgery, and when it's really him, and it's more rare than all the stuff that she signed, because she's back in the hotel signing shit all day while he's at the ballpark. Anyway, what I was saying about Wade Boggs is, as long as he had a great day, he didn't care if the Yankees won or not, or the Red Sox won or not. It was all how he looked. Yeah, what do you do? Gotcha.